I started boxing when I was around 12 to 13 years old. At first, it was my brother, me, and one of my neighbors. Then eventually my brother quit, mainly because it was a really tough sport. So I don't really blame him. But I stuck around. Mainly in the summers when we didn't have school is when I would be boxing a lot. And freshman year of high school, I boxed for that whole year. And then I gave up on it. And mind you, if you do something for years in a row, you're gonna get good at it. So, I had coaches encouraging me to keep going, but it's such a brutal sport, bro. I'm gonna give you some background. I came up in an old school boxing gym, and in an old school boxing gym, there's a whole bunch of sparring, and it's all hard sparring. There's never no chill sparring, there's never no technical sparring. It's always hard. These old school boxing gyms, they just go fucking at it. And that's how you learn. You learn through fire. And it's an effective way of learning, but fucking hell, bro. That shit's a lot of head trauma. And frankly, that was the scary part. So much head trauma, so many punches to the head, so many bloody noses. And as a kid, that scared me. You see what happened to Muhammad Ali. This nigga was disabled after his boxing career. You see so many boxers die in the ring or shortly after a fight. And so, that shit scared me. I remember my hands were starting to shake. I don't know if that was like a placebo effect from the fear, or it was genuinely a problem, because I was hard sparring twice a week, bro. Hard sparring. And that's the way I learned. I never learned hey, southpaw versus southpaw. I never learned open stance. I never learned all this. It was just survival of the fittest. And that's how old school boxing gyms worked. It's survival of the fittest. And if you're not fucking mentally strong, you're gonna quit within a week or two. And also, I don't blame my coaches for it, because you got to think about it like this. They also grew up in an old school boxing gym. They also went through exactly what you went through. And that's the only way they know how to teach, because that's how they learn. So I'm not upset with anybody. I'm still very close with my coach. We hit each other up every now and then. We even trained a couple months ago. I just made a pivot recently, which we'll talk about later in the video. But that's the main reason I walked away from boxing, because it was just relentless head trauma. And I never wanted to be a professional fighter, because if you look at most professional fighters, especially after their careers, their speech is very slurred. They have Parkinson's. And there's a very few amount of fighters that make it out unscathed, or that make it out with all four or all their screws, nice and tightened down or whatever. And I don't want to I knew there was better ways to make money. That's another reason that I never wanted to be a professional fighter, because people become millionaires without fighting all the time. And so if you're fighting, you're just sacrificing your body to make money. When it comes down to it, that's the whole thing. If you want to be world champion, sure, it may be because you want to be the best, but it's also because you want to make fucking money. And if you're going to sacrifice your body for money, you feel me? Your body only has so much to give. And so freshman year of high school, I moved on from boxing. And then I remember when Conor fought Mayweather. When Conor McGregor fought Mayweather, that's when I started slowly getting into MMA. Because obviously I was already a boxing fan. I was always watching boxing fights. And so this MMA guy comes over and fights fucking Mayweather. And Conor put up a good fight. He gassed out and then he got finished. But Conor had some good striking. And so slowly but surely, I started getting into MMA. Then Conor proceeded to fight Khabib, and that was a heartbreak. But my first actual heartbreak from MMA, this is a side tangent, was seeing fucking Tony Ferguson get absolutely demolished by Justin Gaethje. Dude, I remember watching that because I never saw a Tony Ferguson fight. That was the first fight I ever saw. And mind you, this nigga was on a crazy winning streak. And I was telling all my boys, I'm like, yo, this nigga's goated. Watch this, watch this. Then he just gets obliterated by the highlight. And that was crazy. Right? So after boxing for a couple years, I started getting into MMA. And then I've been watching MMA ever since. And so the natural progression of things is to do MMA, right? So I signed up a couple months ago to Alex Pereira's gym. His head coach has a gym over here in Jersey. And so I signed up and started training again. But I would always like spar with random people at random places, whether it was boxing or kickboxing. But over here in this gym, it's like the same story again. The same story where it's like kickboxing, a lot of hard sparring goes on. And you know, you can also have technical sparring. There's people there that know how to spar. And so like all that hard sparring pushed me away from kickboxing. But then like I really started to enjoy no-gi jiu-jitsu. Like, I don't know, it's just fun. Because it's not like head trauma. It may be some wear and tear on the body, but it's nothing compared to the head trauma that you're gonna get from like kickboxing or boxing. And so I quit boxing, started doing kickboxing, and then I started doing no-gi jiu-jitsu because at the end of the day, all my mental facilities need to be intact because I'm not trying to make money from fighting. I'm trying to be able to defend myself in any situation without like, you know, like obviously if you have a weapon, that's a plus, but you know, you don't always have a weapon. You feel me? And so the main reason I quit boxing was because I was scared of the head trauma that comes with these type of combat sports. Now, I still like to spar. I maybe spar like once a month because, you know, you need to sharpen these tools. But like, there's a difference between sparring like once a month and hard sparring twice a week. There's a big fucking difference, bro. And I do not recommend that. Thank you guys for watching today's video. Adios.